apologies, I can't see because I'm not wearing my glasses and I don't have contacts in. What's up, Victoria? It's me, Victoria. Welcome to another day of MESSMAS. Whenever I tried out Hannah Louise Poston's collab with Salt New York, I did this look that was like very fresh and effervescent. And a lot of you really liked it because I don't normally do my makeup like that. So I figured we could do like, I guess kind of like a tutorial. It's a tutorial. This is a tutorial. We're just gonna put on like a fresh face of makeup. We're gonna do all of the steps I usually do. We're gonna be picking specific products and I'm gonna explain like the how, why, and whatever. So whenever I think of like a fresh kind of clean face look, I think of a lot of glow. I think that sometimes like if you have a lot of glow on your face, it's kind of like its own form of blurring. It doesn't work when you're like really close to someone, but that like reflection of the glow back at people, I think just makes your skin look really healthy and fresh. Think about like after you've done your skincare, like the way your skin looks, and just imagine if your skin was like that, but not blotchy and red because you were just like manipulating the skin on your face with your fingers. So that's like what we're trying to achieve, but like amped up just like a little bit. I'm mostly using stuff in my permanent makeup collection, but I got something in PR today that I really want to try. Let's start with primer. We'll start with our complexion today because the eye makeup is going to be very easy. For primer today, I'm going to be using this. This is new to me. Like it came in the mail today. This is the VIEVE Super Skin Nova Primer. I did a VIEVE deep dive earlier in the year and then they sent me PR for their Black Friday event, which will probably be over by the time you see this. But in case it's still happening, here you go. This is what I'm trying. I also got this in PR, the regular Skin Nova. And if you are familiar with me and you already watched the VIEVE video, you'll know that this is going to be what I'm going to use going forward after I finish up my Victoria Beckham primer. So when they offered me a couple of pieces in PR, I said, I was going to buy that anyway, so you could just send it to me. So I have this too, but I kind of wanted to see how this was different. One thing I do like about this and something that was lacking in the other products from VIEVE that I tried is that nothing felt super luxe in the hands, but this is a glass jar and the lid is plastic, but the little jar is just so alluring. So here's what the texture of this looks like. Very golden. I wonder if it's going to change the tone of my skin. It is quite thick in texture. So you might be wondering, if I was already satisfied with the regular Skin Nova, why did I want to try this? Really curiosity and to see just how different it was. It has the scent that the other products that are scented from VIEVE have. I don't know, whatever they describe the signature scent as, it has it. It is melting really easily into my skin. So I thought I actually had a lot on the back of my hand, but I only applied it to this side of my face. And I used almost all of it. It has a texture of like a thick moisturizer. It is melting right into the skin, which I was not sure if it would based on just like kind of how the product's described. I'll have to look at their website to see like what they're claiming that the difference is. Like, I mean, obviously the delivery mechanism is different, but what this was designed to fill that they felt like the original one couldn't. Okay, so we're already looking glowy and fresh. It reminds me a lot of the regular one, a little bit stiffer, but it doesn't feel like it's you know how sometimes when you do like a night cream, like a very thick heavy moisturizer, it kind of sits on your face for a second before it melts into the skin, even though you've like tried to manipulate it into the skin. I don't feel like it's sitting on my skin. I feel like it melted right into my skin. My skin feels really plump. I think my skin looks really gorgeous. That would just be like a beautiful thing to put on your face just to add a little bit of a healthy glow, but not looking like something like Glowlust or the Hollywood Flawless filter. It's much more soft and demure. I feel like it maybe soft focused my skin a little bit. That could be due to the fact that it's a little bit glowy as well. My skin looks weird today. I dodge fair olive accusations all of the time. But I gotta say today, friends, I do feel like I look a little olive and I'm scared. So primer's done. We are gonna move on to concealer. My favorite kind of complexion products are light coverage products. That's what I'm gonna be using today, like light, medium coverage products. And that's gonna include the concealer. I'm gonna go with my tried and true Victoria Beckham concealer. I use the shade FL1. It's not like dewy, but whenever it's set on the skin, it definitely adds a lot of brightness and life to the skin, and that's exactly what we are looking for it to do. So I'm gonna leave it there for a second. I'm gonna take a sip of water. My under eyes look brightened and just like fresh and ready. Like that's just like doing exactly what I want it to do. I think that if you were to try to emulate this with something more full coverage, which I know some people like to use just because of the state of their skin, just the thickness and the consistency of something with full coverage, I'm sure you could achieve something that has this like fresh as a daisy look, but I think there's something about some of the natural skin showing through. And it's not that I'm trying to make it seem as though I'm not wearing makeup, but it's just kind of like we're trying to be like ethereal and angelic, and that's the goal. For foundation, I'm going to be using the Lisa Eldridge Skin Tint. This is in the shade T3. The reason I chose this over the Surratt Dewdrop foundation, which would have been a really great option for this as well. This has a little bit less coverage than the Surratt Dewdrop foundation, but this has the coverage of a foundation. So I'm not planning on using like a ton of this all over the skin. I'm just trying to even out the skin. You also might be wondering, if I'm going for this like glossy, glowy skin ethereal look, why would I choose the Lisa Eldridge Skin Tint? Because it does have like a satin finish. Like, I don't know, it just looks like skin when you put it on. And that's kind of why I've chose it, because it just has like a skin finish. We're going to be using like other things that are going to add like luminosity to the cheek. And I just didn't want my foundation product as well as all the other things I'm putting on top of it to have the glow, because I don't want like the center of my face to be as shiny as what the cheek is going to end up looking like when we're all said and done here. It kind of comes down very far. I'm not going to take this too far up the cheek. We're just going to put it on the perimeter and on the nose. This is a situation where like less is gonna be more for the look. So I did about 3 drops of the skin tint, and this is how much I have left, which is probably about a drop. So I just did very minimal product. You can still see my skin through what we have going on. So everything's just like a little bit evened out as far as redness goes. If you're an avid watcher of my channel, you do know that I really love contouring. But for the purposes of this look, we're going to skip contouring. I don't do an incredibly harsh contour, but I do notice when I do it and when I don't. And my makeup does look ever so slightly more severe when I have contoured. So we're just going to skip the whole contouring step and move on to bronzer, which is going to add a little bit more dimension to the face. If you're trying to recreate this look, I would suggest using a cream bronzer if you're into that sort of thing, or a liquid bronzer that doesn't have a ton of presence whenever you put it on. We're looking for just like a soft kiss of something in this product. We're not looking for it to completely bronze up our face, because we want things to stay light and stay bright on our face. So whatever that means for you and your skin tone. Today I'm going to be using the Sunkissed bronzer from Trixie Cosmetics. It is a stick bronzer, but I have depotted it, so this is what mine looks like now. I only put the bronzer on this side of my face. You can see it's pretty imperceptible, but I'm also often accused. Is there a thing sticking out of my plug? That's so embarrassing. In a lot of videos when I do put on bronzer, especially if I'm trying a new bronzer, I'm often accused of not applying enough bronzer. So that's the look you want. You want to put some bronzer on, but you also want it to kind of almost feel as though you haven't put any bronzer on. You don't want it to have a strong presence on your skin. And the Trixie bronzer already kind of does that for me naturally without trying. But if you don't have like a super soft bronzer, you could always take a very fluffy brush to a powder bronzer, maybe take a highlighter brush and use that to bronze your face so you can just get a whisper of that bronze. It would take a lot more dips into the pan and back to your face to do something like that, because like the highlighter brush probably isn't going to pick up as much as like a bronzer brush would. And then you can just stipple it on and we're still looking gorgeous. It's so funny. I feel like the further I'm getting into this video, it's like the more I'm becoming one with my shirt. The color of my shirt and I are like, we're morphing into one. I'm going to use a cream blush, but you could use a powder blush as well. Here's what my cream blush collection is looking like now. I don't know if I've showed you this again since my declutter video. We're going to use this shade right here. This is Wisp from Phytosurgence. My skin has a slight pink undertone to it, and I want to use something that kind of almost leans into my undertone, but not as like something that will make my cheeks look like they would if they weren't wearing blush. So that's that reddish color to my cheeks. I'm not trying to do that. I want something that looks native to my skin, but not too native to my skin. But we're not going to be applying a ton of blush either. So Wisp is this beautiful, soft lavender color. I'm going to start the application here, I'm just going to pat it into the skin. I don't want it to be the most visible, so you could use a really, like if you're fair like me, you could use a really fair pink color, or again, just apply this to whatever that would mean for your skin depth. I can't make direct product recommendations for all skin depth. I only know my skin tone. These are going to be really easily applicable just with products that you already have. As you can see on my cheeks, it's present but not overwhelming, and that's exactly what we're looking for. Basically, every step of this, we want basic, not overwhelming, something that looks just like tweaks the skin just a little bit, but not doing too much. Now we're to highlighter. This is kind of the most important part. So if you're not a highlight wearer, or if this is enough glow on your cheek for you, you can skip this stuff. You're still going to look fresh and gorgeous and stunning. You're already gorgeous and stunning even before you put makeup on, but you can skip this step if you want to. But I'm going to use the Auric Glowlust, which I'm currently having a second resurgence love affair with. So in the look that I did in that Hannah Louise Poston video, I was using one of the Hannah Louise Poston products. That highlighter actually reminds me a lot of whenever I use this as a highlight on my cheeks. A lot of people like to use this product as a mix-in or as a primer. I feel like I see less people just using it as like something to top the cheek with, but that's what I'm going to use it for. The reason I like this as an option for me specifically is because there's a little bit of base pigment that also evens out the skin, and the part of my skin on my face that always seems to have issues are the high points of my cheeks. They're always the thing that's the most discolored on my face, like right where you put highlighter. So I like having a little extra coverage. So it'll probably even out the redness of this just a little bit more. This is it I have here. It's going to even out the redness of that a little bit more, but also give that like freshly done skincare vibe. It's just nice that I have it back in my repertoire. I'm actually going to be applying it with a very fluffy brush. I'm going to stipple it on, and I'm not trying to put too much of it on, because you can get a little bit, not like heavy-handed, but I feel like it can get away from me, and I'm trying not to do that. Very soft and ethereal, and if you want to be even more ethereal, you can use something that has a slight iridescence to it. So I'm thinking in my makeup collection, something that I could use are some of the Rare Light Luminizers from Rituel de Fille. They would give a very similar vibe, but also add a little bit of shiftiness and intrigue. And that's basically the face done so far, but we have eye makeup to do. So when I'm powdering this look, we're going to keep the powder minimum, like to a minimum. If you have oily skin, use as much as you need to bring it to zero, but don't overuse it, because if this starts looking too powdery, it's not going to have like the same vibe. So I'm really just going to powder the center of my face, and I'm going to use this from the Charlotte Tilbury blush duo thing. And I'm going to gently pat some of it under my eyes, but not go too hard. This can look drying if you're not careful. So I'm not trying to do that. And then a little bit on the center of my forehead and some on the front part of my cheek. That's all the powdering I'm going to do for the look. So we are going to move on to eyes. I'm going to even out my eyes with this eyeshadow primer that has a little bit of pigment to it. You can use concealer. My eyes are really oily, so using concealer on my eyes is just a recipe for disaster. It just is for me. Whenever cut creases were really popular and people were using concealer as the thing to cut the crease, I remember trying it so much and it just messed up my eye looks so bad. Just me and concealer on my eyes, it just doesn't work. But I know a lot of people have a lot of success with it, so if that works for you, you can do the same thing. We're going to give that a second to just like kind of set on the eyes a little bit. For eyeshadow in the Hannah Louise Poston look, I used Flora from Rituel de Fille, which is this beautiful, like very frosty lilac shade. It's really beautiful as a beautiful like one and done, just to kind of brighten up the eye area. It's really gorgeous. Today I wanted to use something different. I'm going to use Dose of Colors Stardust. This is an eyeshadow stick that has multicolored sparkles in it, but there's no base to it. So it's just going to give my eyes a bit of a wet look and make them glisten, which I'm looking for. But if you have a different skin tone to me, like if you have medium skin tone, maybe like a very sparkly something with a champagne base, so like something like Space Cowboy might work for you. You just want to make sure that like, because I'm so fair, these like silver sparkles are going to look really, you know, organic and wet looking on my face, but I'm not sure that that would apply. It might look, you know, a lot frostier on someone with a deeper complexion, but it's not going to look frosty on me. It's going to be like, oh, that's just the color of Tom. And I love these. I love these. I like the shade Icy more, but this is better for what we are trying to get done here today. I'm not even sure how much you're really even seeing it on camera, but it's just a little bit of something. Just a little bit of something all over the lid, nothing in the crease, not adding any definition. We just want those, just that beautiful sparkle all over. Very plain and very simple. Mascara, that's up to you whether or not you would like to wear mascara. I think it's really ethereal to not wear mascara with it. I think the mascara will add something to it because it's like there's so little definition really happening on my face. Like there's slight definition happening, but there's like no strong thing. So you could do this whole look and then just have a power lip on, like, and this would be like a perfect look for a power lip. That's not what I'm going to do because I'm trying to keep it light and bright. Or if you prefer brown mascara, but I'm going to be using a black mascara to add something to just like draw attention to the eye just a little bit. And then a step I'm going to do in this video that I didn't do in that video, but it's something to consider. If you have like a waterline brightener, I'm going to use this one from Soshe. They sent this to me in PR. This isn't a step that I often like to do, and sometimes I can find it a little uncanny, but it'll just open up the eyes even more and just make me look more awake and even fresher faced. Everything we're doing is just very, very subtle enhancements because sometimes less is more with makeup, but like there's obviously nothing wrong with doing more is more. All types of makeup are fun and completely valid. But I got a lot of compliments on that makeup look. And this is like, when I was doing that makeup, this is just kind of the vibe that I was going with. And so we're just kind of like recreating the vibe. Let's put it on a lip product. You can choose whatever color sparkle you want. I'm going to use Diamond Star Halo from Mob. I am going to use setting spray. I'm going to use the Trixie Cosmetics All the Way setting spray. Something with a natural or more glowy finish as a setting spray is what I would use for this. So this has a natural finish, so everything's kind of glowy, so I don't need to add more glow. I would avoid using a matte setting spray for this kind of look, just because it's just like the whole point is like healthy, glowy, dewy skin. And that's a very simple, easy, ethereal, gorgeous, glowing face of makeup. I'm gonna get you closer to my skin so you can see what I've done. I know that sometimes with the bright lights, when I do things, especially things that are like the softer look, it's harder to see what has happened. So I'm just going to zoom you in to take a look. And that's it. That's the whole video. If you are new here and you want to subscribe, feel free to. I'm going to have a pinned comment. That pinned comment will have links to support some great causes. If you have some funds to throw their way, please do that. I'm on Patreon and I have channel memberships if you want to support me that way. That's a great way to support me, but not a better way to support me. So no worries if you don't want to do that, but cool if you did. And I think that's it. Remember to follow your haute and you'll find me. And I'll see you in a video very soon. Go forth. Tits out.